Well, hello to all of my artists of all grades. It's me, Mrs. B, Mrs. Pendleton, your art teacher here. One more time, part two of our advocacy poster, our stay safe pictures, whatever it is that you have decided to advocate for. That means we're using art to support something that is important to us. It can be any cause that you want to. We started this project 2 weeks ago and we were working together on our sketch. And so we are going to finish our sketch, talk about some different ways to add color and some other ways that we are going to finish integrating all the elements that we've been using over the past 8 weeks of our distance learning lessons. So if you're ready, I am. Let's do it. All of my artists, let's do a quick review of some of the vocabulary that we talked about the last time we were together and some of the standards that we were working on. So we were talking about text and how we were going to be using different types of text to create artwork for our advocacy poster. Okay, so text again is anytime we use letters. We are using letters to create art. We're using letters to form words that are going to convey a message. And that message was up to you. My message, something that I am advocating for now, is helping us all stay healthy and stay safe. And so I decided to do a stay safe poster. But again, we talked about it's completely up to you. Think of a cause, something that is important to you that you want to support through art. And so we are going to take it from there. So we talked about block lettering and we talked about bubble lettering and we went over how to do those things. And I'll go over it a little bit again today too. And of course, we've been talking about integrating all the elements and some of the principles that we have been working with through all of our drawing based lessons: lines, patterns, shape, textures, color, space, and other elements that even you may already be familiar with. It depends on your grade level. Feel free to integrate those into this lesson. We had a couple of standards for kindergarten, first, second, and fourth. It is, and fifth, it is CR2, that's creating. Create works of art based on selected themes. Creating works of art emphasizing one or more elements of art or principles of art and design. So that's what we just talked about. For our third grade artists, it's CR1, creating one. Engage in the creative process to generate and visualize ideas by using subject matter to symbol and symbols to communicate meaning. So that communication of meaning is definitely something that we're focusing on with our advocacy work. So the last time we were all together, we were talking about two different lettering techniques for this particular piece of artwork. We talked about block lettering. It's when you use more straight lines and angles to create the width or the thickness of your letter. And we have bubble lettering, which uses rounded edges to create the thickness of your letters. So I decided to go back and forth with block, bubble, but you can do this however you want to. And we also talked about, for some of my adventurous artists or more advanced artists, depends on your grade level and depends on your skill level too, thinking about how you can create or use different types of line to create your bubble or block letters, okay, or to create the shape of your letters. So even though you're maintaining the structure of your letter, you can still tell it's an E. And we talked about sketching a letter first, making a guideline. We've used that word before. We made some guidelines by sketching the letter first and then drawing around the letter to create some width or some thickness to make the letter larger so that you can see it. We also talked about using pattern, other design elements, linear designs, different types of lines that you can include into the spaces of your letters, and even thinking about how to add those elements into your border. So if there's certain things that you want to add, like balance, having the same things on both sides, adding some decorations to the corners, to the tops, things like that, that is completely up to you. So what we're going to do from here, being as though I'm already finished my sketch, I think I'm going to, being as though I have a marker, again, if you don't have a marker, if you don't have a crayon, use whatever it is that you're creating your art with to add color. Remember, we talked about tone and value, so you can shade in. You can dictate the value by pressing harder or pressing lighter. The lighter you press, the lighter your value is, and the harder you press with your pencil, the harder the value is, or it's darker, or the darker your value is. So I think what I'm going to do is, being as though I have a marker, and I want my letters to really stand out, I'm going to trace them. Hope that noise doesn't bother everybody. Sometimes it bothers me. I'm going to trace this one. I'm trying to create contrast. Contrast is when you have light colors against dark colors. That helps the objects and images in your artwork just stand out a little bit more. So I have white paper, so I'm using a black marker so that my letters stand out and the designs in my letters stand out even more because I have such a light background. It's okay if I decide not to stay directly on the line. You know, sometimes, remember, with sketching, it's just kind of a plan of your artwork, a plan of what you want your drawing to look like. A lot of times, I don't always stick to my sketch lines, and that is okay. But it helped me to create the idea of what I wanted my artwork to look like. As you see, I'm overlapping. We've done a lot of work with overlapping over the past few weeks. Drawing items or drawing objects behind other objects, or learning how to draw objects in front of other objects. We talked about distance, how to make things look far away and how to make things look closer. That A is overlapping, so I'm going to stop my line there. Have a little reflective bubble mark there. That A is overlapping that F2, and I'm going to trace over my really cool, groovy, funky E. I love it. It's pretty lit. A lot of different lines here, a lot of different curves. And I have a lot of curvy lines in here, so I'm not going to stick to or draw directly on top of each one because I was just sketching. It gave me an idea of what I wanted it to look like. So what I can do is I can go back and erase these extra lines. Or if I choose to, I can add some value, some tone, or I can even add some color. Oh, don't forget, I added some design elements in the corner, kind of creating a corner border. I love curved lines. I wanted to create a little bit of visual balance here. If you notice I'm drawing a little faster than usual, it's because I sketched first. So I already know what I want my artwork to look like, so I'm feeling really confident about tracing over it. Forgot about this part. And down here. And of course, I usually write my name and put a box around it because I don't want to add color over it. Okay, so I traced it. It pops, the letters are bright. I have high contrast. I have this white paper. Black ink is looking pretty good. I might add a little color, or maybe not. What do you think? This is my finished advocacy poster. Again, I decided to focus on the word stay safe. And for the elapsed video, I decided to focus on how I decided to do the background. As you can see, it's multicolored, a little gradation. That's when you're taking some color and slowly going into another color. And I really wanted to show you guys how to do that, or how I did that, to encourage you to try to experiment with blending colors, whatever the medium that you're using, whether you're using crayons, markers, paint, or pencil, using a value to add some gradation to your work. I highly encourage it, and I hope that you enjoy it. So I know I started off with some high contrast, but I just felt like playing around with a little color. So that was my choice. Whatever choice you make for your advocacy poster, it's up to you. Remember, I am looking for your ability to work with text to create this artwork, and I especially am looking for evidence of trying or experimenting with block lettering, bubble lettering. And even for my younger artists, I am looking forward to seeing what you've done. And thank you and shout out to all of my artists that have already been sending me work for this project. It's been amazing. I'll be doing another shout out video very soon so I can showcase all the work of our artists that have been working so hard with us over the past 8 weeks, guys. So you guys get to work on that. I'm looking forward to seeing your finished products. And for many of us, this is the last week of school. For some of us, it's not yet, but the time is coming up. So I just want to say a congratulations and a special shout out to all of our students that are moving on from elementary school to middle school, or from middle school to high school to whatever's next for you, maybe college, career, other opportunities, whatever it is. I wish you all the best. And shout out to us that are moving on from college to the rest of our lives, I suppose. I just graduated with a doctorate from Georgia State University. So shout out to my fellow graduates as well. And guys, as always, I just hope that you all are doing well. You are staying safe, helping to keep yourself healthy and those around you, guys. Hopefully you're being nice as possible and still practicing some self-control, mind, mouth, and body. The same rules that we have in the art room, guys. They're pretty helpful in life too. So I hope that you're doing your best to practice those things. Again, it's me, Mrs. P, or Dr. P. Whatever it is you want to call me, just know that I love you and I miss you, and I cannot wait to see you. I cannot wait to see your art. I certainly hope that it's sooner than later. And until then, stay creative.